Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
So, tell me a little bit about what you're hoping this interview will contain today.
Well, I've got Iain here with me, and he's probably a bit better person to explain it. He's a huge fan, so I'll leave it over to him to explain exactly what he wants to talk about.
Hello, Michael. This is Iain.
Hi, Ian. How are you?
Well, I should apologise. I'm losing my voice at the moment, so I don't normally sound this husky in this Wolfman Jack in style. So,
it's just the thing for a radio announcer, isn't it?
Exactly. I think it's going to get all the girls fancying me. Hey, listen. Basically, I'm a huge fan, and I'm keen to talk about whatever you want to talk about, and not talk about stuff you don't want to talk about. So, I'd like to talk about your solo albums. Some of the movies that you produced in the 80s, and also what you're up to now, and what, would you ever consider coming back to the UK, that kind of stuff.
What about the new American Economic Development Package and the valuation of the currency?
We can talk about that if you want, sir. We'll talk about whatever you want. We can talk about the midterms and everything, if you want.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I think your listeners would really love it. I think we'd probably be able to clear everybody off the air in maybe 15 minutes.
So, shall we aim to do that, sir? Shall we try and get rid of everybody that's listening as quickly as we can?
Well, we'll need to find some really, really obscure swear words from really odd languages and religions.
Well,
I have a picture of Muhammad that I could fax you if you wanted it. It's not very good. It's just something I drew up.
You drew it yourself. Send it over.
Yeah, well, it was just for a giggle. So
send it over, for goodness sakes. And also, Michael, I'm more than happy to do probably the first interview you've ever done where we don't mention that group you used to be in.
Which one's that, Ian? Which one would that be?
Weren't you in the Beach Boys for a period?
Ah, yeah, nice try.
I'm happy not to mention those at all if you want.
No, you can talk about whatever you want. You want to talk about the Monkees? That's fine. Tell me who your listeners are. Give me a sense of the age and.
Okay, they range between sort of 15 and 55. They're primarily men. I'd say it's about 60% men, 40% women. The station is a sort of rock pop station that plays current music, but also specialises in sort of 60s, 70s, 80s classic sort of rock and pop as well.
Okay. All right. That's what I needed. Well, so we'll go at 10 o'clock then? Is that what we're going to do?
Well, listen, Michael, we can either go now if you're ready to, or we can call you back at 10 and we can do it then, whatever you're happy with.
Well, if you'll give me, if I can put you on hold for about 2 minutes, we can go now. But okay. I do have one thing to finish up.
Listen,
so.
we'll wait here. You give us a shout when you're ready.
Michael, the other thing we wanted to ask was, have you got a particular song that in mind from any back catalogue, your whole entire back catalogue, that you would like us to play that you never hear on the radio or anything? Just if you can have like a little think about that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I don't. I'm going to leave that to you.
Okay.
One of the things I learned a long time ago is never choose your own photograph.
Okay.
I'm sure Ian's got a few up his sleeve.
You want me to put you on hold, or you want to call me back in 5 minutes?
Should we call you back in 5 minutes? How about that?
That sounds good. Give me a second to finish some stuff up here, and call me back in. Call me back in 5.
Okay, Michael. Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye, Ian. Bye.
Recording.
Have you dialed?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, not yet. Now I'm dialing.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Michael, it's Iain again. Are you free?
I am.
Lovely. Then let me just introduce you, and we shall crack on with this. Very, very excited. Our next guest calling us live all the way from LA, which I believe is in America.
No, not LA.
Oh,
Ian.
Where are you?
Monterey, California.
Oh, excuse me, sir. Well, the voice you heard there, it's Michael Nesmith in Monterey. I do apologise.
That's all right.
How is Monterey today, Michael?
It's exquisite, beautiful. It's 72 degrees, perfectly clear. The only thing I can see in the sky are contrails of the high jets.
Man, I hate you. We're here in London. It's cold, it's dark, it's horrible out there.
Oh, I feel so bad for you, Ian. You just can't imagine.
Michael, listen, you're sounding very well. I'm hoping my voice will hold up for this interview because I'm kind of losing my voice. But what are you up to at the moment?
Right now I'm writing email.
Really? Well, you're a big fan of the email. We've been getting some lovely emails from you, which Eloise has been very excited about every time one has popped up.
Yeah, people are always really surprised when I actually answer my own email. But in order for that to happen, you have to have my private email address, just like you have to have Obama's private BlackBerry address, and I don't give that out.
Have you got Obama's private address?
I do, in fact, yeah.
Fan.
He and I talk all the time, and he asked me to pass on his. Well, let's see, what was he said? What he said when I said I was talking to Iain. He said, "Oh yeah," he said, something like that. I can't really put the words to it, but something like that.
It was that kind of tune.
It was, yeah.
Michael, now listen.
He listens to your show every day. I don't know whether you know that.
I did not know that. I'm a little bit embarrassed now because I don't know if it's good enough for the President of the United States of America.
I'd give him a shout out, Iain. I'd do it right now.
Okay, big up yourself, Barack Obama. I think he'll like it. I think he'll like it. Michael, listen, I'm a huge fan of your solo music, and I think you kind of go unrecognised for. I would say you were one of the pioneers of country rock music.
Well, okay.
Well, I think Graham Parsons kind of gets, and Graham Parsons did a lot of great stuff, but I think he gets all of the attention because he's, of the sexy story, but you get overlooked a little bit.
He's what?
You get overlooked a little bit, I think, in the history of country rock.
Given the rocket ride that I got with the Monkees, I think I probably get all the attention I need, and so people probably bypass some of these later things.
Does that frustrate you? I'm thinking specifically of the country trilogy album, the Loose Salute, Magnetic South, and Nevada Fighter, and all the other albums. They get overlooked a little bit in that huge shadow of the Monkees.
Not really. I mean, it just is what it is, and it was the work. When you do the kind of stuff that I do, which is kind of hang out on the front edge of things. That's the fun. That's the reward of it. Not whether people know that you did it or not. It's whether you know that you did it, and that's what's really good to me. This boxed set that's coming out from the Zigzag concert.
I've heard this. Yes.
Yeah, have you heard that?
I've not. I've heard it's coming out. I'm going to try and get it today. In fact, on my way home.
Well, it's an interesting piece because the First National Band, John Ware and John London we'd all gone our separate ways, and so me and Red Rhodes, the steel player, just did it, the two of us there at the Roundhouse. And who else? There was a bunch of other really good players on that particular show, and they recorded it in a pristine, perfect package, and now it's coming out, and it's getting some good reviews and what have you. But I remember going back, at the time, thinking how much fun it was and how interesting it was just to play alone on the stage with Red Rhodes, this master of the steel player.
Fantastic, yeah.
And how fulfilling that was, Well, that went unnoticed now for, 3 decades? But I still had it was one of the best times I ever had playing.
I have heard a couple of tracks from the album, and it does sound, it's just that beautiful kind of stripped-down sound, and you're right, Red Rhodes, what a fantastic steel player.
Yeah.
And the two of you together, it's a great sound, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Red was rest his soul. He was really just, in the zone somewhere. Yeah. One of the things he was, had going for him was that he was a virtuoso, so he could play everything that he thought. Yeah. And that was a great point of departure, but it's really just a threshold that you have to go over. And it was the excursions that he took from there into these just magic lands of tonality and the sonics that he explored and so forth that made him who he was. He was really something to work with.
Now,
he was a good time too. He smoked more dope than any man I ever knew.
and you knew Jimi Hendrix, for goodness sake, so he must have been doing well. Now, you mentioned the Roundhouse, which is a gorgeous sort of venue just up the road from us in Camden.
Oh, it is? Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's not far from us. In fact, Eloise and I were in the Roundhouse just a few weeks ago at some weird award ceremony. So
is it still a venue? Do they still do shows there?
Yeah, they still do shows there. It's a gorgeous venue. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I remember loving it. It was really great. It's an old train station, right?
I think so. It's something, I'm not quite sure of the history, but David Byrne from Talking Heads did a brilliant installation there a few months ago.
Oh, yeah.
He rigged up a keyboard in the middle of the Roundhouse, and it was connected to all of the pipes around the building, and you could play the building.
Ah, cool. Yeah, good old
wonderful.
David, yeah.
Are you ever do you do concerts anymore? Have you kind of knocked that on the head?
Well, no, I play all the time, but usually just in the living room for my friends. First of all, nobody asks me to come play, so there's that.
Yeah.
But the other part of it is that playing live is something that you have to really do regularly. It's you don't just jump up and go play. It takes a lot of stamina and there's a lot of physical effort involved with it.
Yeah.
And I'm in great shape, but I would have to get back toned up before, and so I just haven't really done anything live. But I love to sit around the living room, play with friends, and play for friends and so forth. A guy came over the other day whose birthday it was, and I forgot to get him a present, so I sang some of Shelley's blues for him live.
Oh, man, fantastic. How cool is
that?
that?
Yeah, it was great. Made him cry.
Can I listen, Michael? Can I come over one day and watch you sing some of Shelley's blues?
On your birthday, yeah, you can do that.
I'm going to hold you to that, sir. I'm going to turn up June the 9th next year, knocking on your door.
Okay, let me make a mark here. June 8th.
June the 9th.
No. June 8th, leave town, since Iain will be here June 9th.
I've got to say, Michael, when I was growing up, I'm 37 now, so I kind of was conscious in the 70s, I was terrified of the video you did for Rio.
You were?
Yeah, it was really freaky. I mean,
somebody called it sordid at one point.
it's kind of the reflective glasses, that bit where you're getting dragged across the dance floor. It's the shoe. It just terrified me, man.
Wow, you must have had an interesting childhood.
It was kind of quite interesting. When you did the video for Rio, which is kind of one of the first, if not the first, non-performance pop video, did you realise that you were inventing a genre, or did it just seem natural for you to do that?
No, I actually realised it, but I didn't know it. I didn't know it before I did it. I did it while I was. It dawned on me while I was doing it, and kind of after. What happened? Continuity is a really important part of movies. You have to have a narrative structure so people can follow where the people are and the timelines. And there's even a person on the set who does continuity and make sure that all the shots match. And with this, what had happened is we had all these disparate shots that to the director and the people around didn't seem to fit. And when we got into the edit bay, I said, okay, well, let's just lay the music down first, and then we'll just start dropping the shots in on top of it. And every time we dropped another shot that didn't have any continuity or any relationship to the one in front of it, suddenly the music smoothed all that over.
Right.
And it became the narrative thrust of it became the music, and the pictures became an adjunct to that. And as that began to develop, we all went, wait a minute. This is a different kind of film grammar.
Yeah.
So it was a discovery. I mean, it wasn't anything that I created or innovated. It was just a discovery that we all sort of made at the same time. But by the time we were finished editing it, the whole edit facility, everybody had come out of the bays and out of the edit rooms, and we were all standing around watching it like some giant new egg that had come in from outer
How
space.
Exciting!
It was a lot of fun. The next move, of course, was to say, well, all right. Is this really a principle? Is this really a new part of the film grammar? And so can we do it on purpose? And we tried to, and the next one was Cruisin'.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it turned out to be, a very dependable, reliable way of doing it. And that's the way people still do film music videos.
It is the way, and I remember sort of in the 70s, it just being such a shock that suddenly there's a clever, slightly arty, slightly amusing film as well behind a pop song, and it's not just people miming up on stage.
No, well, it was finding that spiritual connection between the lyrics and the music and the visual images that was so much fun. It was a really creative enterprise. I was working with some very bright and intelligent people who had great ideas, and film is a collaborative effort. So that was it was a terrific experience.
I have to say, Rio is one of my mum's favourite songs as well.
No, it is. Well, bless her heart.
She's got good taste. Michael, how did that... Was Rio the starting point? Because you kind of developed MTV, didn't you?
Well, yeah, MTV flowed from that early video. But, when something as big as MTV comes along, it has 1,000 fathers. So I kind of made the idea up for 24-hour television music programming and so forth, and I sold that idea to Warner Brothers and American Express. But at the end of the day, there were literally hundreds of people who came on and refined it and made it better and made it what it was. So I don't know, you could ever call it inventing it or coming up with it, but certainly part of the early fathers.
Ray's was the last album, I think, a couple of years ago. Yep. Lovely, fantastic. Are you going to do any more records?
Well, I'm in the middle of one right now, but I don't know. I'm at a point. You get to the point in your career where career, as we laughingly call it, is you're mature. You have different agendas. You've got different value sets and skill sets, and so I don't know what'll happen with this particular music, whether I'll put it out or do anything with it. The Ray's laid around the house for a few years before I ever put it out.
Really?
Yeah.
But
this one will too, I think. Although one of the things I'm doing, I have a website called Video Ranch.
Yeah.
I have two. One's VideoRanch3D.com, which is a virtual world, and then I have VideoRanch.com, which is kind of a place where you can just go and buy stuff and get all my stuff in. And on VideoRanch.com, what I'm doing is I'm putting up that album kind of piecemeal.
Right.
Putting one song up at a time, and I'm even putting up some of the song sketches.
Okay.
So you'll be able to buy everything, all the little stuff that goes along with it, and that's sort of my plan right now, is over the next year or two to just put things up, even if it's me sitting around the studio and with my guitar and making the song up in the first song sketches. I'm probably going to put those up there as well.
Fantastic.
We'll see what happens with that. So far nothing's happened with any of it.
but that's how a lot of sort of artists are getting their music out there now, is by not going to record labels, but putting them on websites and allowing people to download them from there. Yeah,
very much so. Yeah, and that's what VideoRanch.com is about. That's what you can jump on there and go look at the downloads and special download sessions. Although they're not free, I charge for them.
Well, good for you, sir. Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't do it for free. But,
no, as you should not. The 3D website, you have like live concerts and things there, do you? Yeah.
Well, Video Ranch 3D is quite a different thing. It's a virtual world into which there are live video performances embedded in such a way that they appear as if they're inside the world. But the cool part of it is that there's a virtual audience. Everybody goes in as an avatar, and they stand around. You can see the members of the audience that you're with at the same time that you're seeing the person that's performing and playing.
Yeah.
And the person that's performing and playing can see you at the same time.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, it's fully multiplex, and so you can converse with the person that's playing through chat. Chat's the lingua franca, and you can say things, request songs. You can even ask them to sign an album for you.
Hang on, how does that work? This sounds insane now.
It is kind of insane. I mean, it's I feel a little bit like a mad scientist. Matter of fact, I have a mad scientist hat, which I'll send you, when is it, June 9th? I'll make sure you get that.
Are you sure you didn't take too much acid in the 60s, Michael? This sounds crazy.
No, it works really well. It's a imagine a video game, really just any video game that you can bring to mind. And so you're in there as an avatar and you're walking around, except suddenly you come into a venue like the Roundhouse, and you look at the people that are on stage and you go, wait a minute, they're really up there. That's really a live video feed of them being up there. Well, I wonder if my avatar can talk to them. And the answer is, yes, it can.
You can heckle from the internet. That's incredible.
You can indeed. Yep, you can heckle and you can make fun and you can really actually ruin people's lives if that's your idea.
The internet has ruined my life many, many times, so maybe it's not the best idea. You're not on Twitter anymore. You were Twittering for a while, then you stopped.
Well, what happened with Twitter, and I'm thinking about going back on, I have a Facebook page, which is, what is my face? Is it Michael Nesmith? I think it's just Michael Nesmith. I have a Facebook page, but the Twitter thing, what was happening is I started becoming very self-conscious about what I was writing.
Yeah.
And thinking, I'm doing this, in a public venue all the time, and so it's making me think about what I'm writing, and I don't want to do that.
Right.
I want to have it be really spontaneous. And I tried to get over it, and I couldn't. I couldn't get rid of the self-conscious effort. So I thought, I'm just going to back out of this until I understand it better. Facebook is a little easier because I just don't write very much. I'll post a picture every once in a while and do it that way.
And is it you that actually does the Facebook site, or have you got one of your many minions that updates it and pretends to be?
No, it's me.
Wow.
No, I do it. Same way I answer my own email.
Yeah.
I just don't tell anybody where it is.
Well, we're giving away your email address as a prize this evening, Michael. So we won't be doing that. Don't worry, that's top secret. Listen, I think one of the things that I think you kind of get overlooked for as well is I think you're a brilliant actor, and you talk about the monkeys and things like elephant parts and television parts. Is acting anything that you would ever consider going back to do?
Well, you know what? It's my first love. And I would not only consider it, I'd do it at the drop of a hat. And I go into town every once in a while, I start looking at the hats, none of them drop.
None of them drop?
Nope, nothing's happened. So I sit here unrequited. But I love the stage, and I love movies and television, and there was a time in the 70s when I was thinking about doing a television series, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But motion pictures and those kinds of things that's another thing altogether. I just love it.
What kind of series would it have been? A sitcom?
It would have been a sitcom, yeah.
Wow, that would have been the coolest thing ever, man.
Not so fast, Ian. I'm not sure it would have been. You didn't get to read the script. I did.
Oh, really? What was it?
Yeah.
Was it you at home with the wife and kids, and crazy things happened?
No, it was two divorced couples living across the street from each other.
It sounds hilarious.
It sounds awful.
One of my favourite films that you produced, because obviously you produced a lot of films in the 80s, Time Rider.
Oh, really?
I'm a big fan of time travel movies, and we did a show a few months ago where we did the top 10 time travel movies, and Time Rider came in, I think, about number 4 or 5.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's an awesome film.
We sell Time Rider T-shirts at VideoRanch.com, so I'll make sure you get one of those next June 9th. But what people don't really seem to understand about Time Rider is that it was done lighthearted. It's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
And I sit in screening after screening, and nobody's laughing.
No.
And I think, oh God, well, all right, here I am.
Listen, if you've not seen the film, turn off now because I'm going to ruin the ending. The bit when the guy's on that mountain and suddenly a helicopter comes up and shoots all the cowboys, that's hilarious. It's a work
I thought
of
it was
genius.
too.
but no one laughed.
Yeah, I mean, when she says to him, "Senor, where did you get this map?" And he said, "I got it at an Exxon station." I thought that was funny.
It's a brilliant film.
Well, thanks.
And speaking of brilliant films, you brought up the Monkees. I'm going to mention it. What are your feelings on Head?
Well, I thought it was a good movie. It was the Swan Song. They're putting it out again in a retrospective of Rafelson's work.
So yes, I know it's with the Blu-ray and DVD with
that's
bits.
the Rhino set, right?
There's the Rhino. There's the Rhino.
Oh, it's Criterion. It's Criterion.
Criterion DVD, and Rhino have just released a 3 CD box set of the soundtrack.
Yeah, I did a commentary for the Criterion set.
Oh.
And so that's on there, and I think they actually got the other 3 guys to do a commentary as well, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, it's on the website. The other 3, I'm not sure if it says that you're on there on the website. I shall have to have a look.
I am, yeah. No, I did a commentary for it.
I think it's one of the greatest films, and it's got a huge cult status now, probably even beyond cult, because people recognise it as a classic film of the 60s. Was it what you expected it to be? Were you disappointed when it came out? Were you proud of it? What was the feeling at the time?
I mean, the real answer is I didn't have a clue. I mean, I didn't, at that age, at that particular time, I didn't understand the movie form very well.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was going on around me, and I didn't know how good those guys were, and I was just trying to get through the day doing the part of the job that I had to do. In retrospect, I can remember some really cool moments and so forth, but at the time, it was, it was kind of I was in a fog.
Yeah.
And it was fun, and I also understood that what everybody had sort of decided to do was to put the Monkees to rest. It was one of the first, mass suicides by a rock group.
Well, literally in that you all jump off the bridge, and of course metaphorically that it wasn't advertised as a Monkees film. It had a rating so kids couldn't see it. It was a strange plan.
Yeah, no, it was definitely it was a definite plan to bury the whole thing, take it down. And then we didn't do anything else after that ever.
Now listen, you've mentioned the Monkees, and I wasn't going to mention them because I
okay, well then I'll talk to you later. It was really great, and this has been really terrific.
Go
ahead.
No, it's just because I've always been led to believe that you were kind of quite reticent to talk about them and didn't really want to look at them anymore. Have you kind of mellowed?
No. It's another one of those myths.
Right.
They get started out there. You just don't believe that stuff.
Okay.
No. What do you want to know?
Okay, I will ask you one Monkees question, then we'll move on.
I don't take any Monkees questions, Ian. I'm sorry.
Oh, Michael, for goodness sake.
No, go ahead.
I can barely speak. Is it true that the 4 of you got...
No, I'm sorry, Ian. I really don't take any Monkees questions. No, I'm just kidding. I'll talk about the Monkees all you want. Go ahead.
I swear to God, if only Davy Jones had replied to the emails, this wouldn't be happening. Is it true?
Oh, I'm sorry, Ian.
Eloise, don't encourage him, for God's sakes. Did the four of you get together in 1974 to talk about a reunion, but you'd only do it if they made a movie? Is that true?
No, it's not true.
Okay, then. That's...
Oh, yes, it is true. Wait a minute. Yes, it is true. Oh, no, it's not really. No, it's true, Ian.
Hang on, let me just write this down. Michael Nesmith is the difficult monkey. Okay, right, we've got that. We've got that.
Hey, I learned all this from Eddie Izzard's Engelbert Humperdinck riff.
Michael, listen, it has been a pleasure to talk to you. Oh, is there any chance of you ever coming to the UK again? Because I know a lot of people would love to see you, if it were to do interviews, to do a concert, to do anything. Is that ever going to happen?
Well, it's 100% chance. You know, I'm perfectly willing to do it, and I love England. I'm an Anglophile, and I love being there, and I love the water.
We got plenty of water here,
but nobody has asked.
Right.
So until that happens, I'll just sit here.
Okay, listen, this is the deal. We'll book the Roundhouse again. You can come and sleep in my spare room in my flat. My wife won't mind, and I'll feed you. How about that?
Wow. Well, it's a start. But actually, I don't talk about the monkeys, Ian.
Michael Nesmith, also, just one final thing. Thanks ever so much to Betty, your dear mother, for inventing what we call Tipp-Ex over here, liquid paper.
God bless her wherever she is.
It's one of the top pub quiz questions here. If ever there's a quiz show or something, whose mother invented Tipp-Ex? So it's
there you go.
It's fantastic. Michael, go on. Sorry.